Welcome to the BrothSyndi MyTeam show. I am your host, Jan Moses, here to recap Season 2 of NBA 2K26 MyTeam and talk a little bit about Season 3. We just started about 24 hours ago or so, also trying out some brand new intro music for the BrothSyndi MyTeam show. Shout out to Muka dropping the song Maverick Mom. I heard it on Spotify randomly a couple of days ago. I know it's definitely not copyright free, but you know what? I don't make money off these YouTube videos, so I figured why not play a bit of a groovy tune to lead us into our first episode of the BrothSyndi MyTeam show for Season 3, once again here in NBA 2K26 MyTeam. Let's transition over now to actually talking a little bit about the game itself. You may not hear my buddy Harry. Actually, you are not going to hear my buddy Harry on today's episode, and that is because he is, he's not playing NBA 2K26 MyTeam right now, and for that reason, I didn't even bother asking him if he wanted to record this episode with me, just because I figured, he's probably gonna rant, and I don't blame him for doing so, about why he's not playing the game. But I figured instead of bringing him on to rant, I did want to just kind of share my thoughts on what actually happened in Season 2 of MyTeam. What I did like, which there were a couple of things that I did like that 2K did that I'm hoping they will build upon for future seasons. But there are obviously a lot of things that I'm going to be critical of, and things that I'm honestly concerned of that they showed us in Season 2 that I think are going to linger throughout not just Season 3, but also in future seasons, maybe until the end of NBA 2K26 MyTeam. So with that being said, as I make sure that I am still recording, looks like we are, I'm always into hearing whatever you guys have to say about the game, whether you're playing it a lot or you're not playing it a lot. I want to hear what you're not liking about the game, or honestly, at this point, I would love to hear what you are enjoying about the game, because there has been so much negativity around this game in particular since Season 2 began. And we're seeing, I think, even more people who are just very frustrated and are now being even more vocal about it since Season 3 started a little over 24 hours ago. So again, we are going to talk about Season 3, but I did want to focus a little bit on Season 2, at least to start, because I haven't really talked all that much on this channel about Season 2, at least in comparison to other content creators on this channel, and I figured why not talk a little bit about it. So you can see here the mode rewards for Season 2. We are going to talk about that in a second, because spoiler alert, this is actually the thing I'm most critical of from 2K in Season 2 of NBA 2K26 MyTeam. But I do want to start with some of the positives. And one of them is regarding the daily agenda, which I think it changed, maybe not at the beginning of Season 2, but it changed at some point in Season 2. Hold on, I just want to make sure. Is my audio loud? Okay, no, audio is totally fine. I apologize. The music is just louder in my ear, I guess. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, the daily agendas changed from having like these random requirements and giving us a base pack, I believe, a Series 1 base pack, to now being streamlined, straightforward, easy to complete agendas, as long as you have an online pass, I guess, to, whether you're on PlayStation or on Xbox or I guess on PC. Every other day you would have to basically complete an agenda that would require you to at least play one online game. Whether you won or you lost, it would count towards that agenda set. And then you had to get like 100 combined stats across all games that you play in that given 24-hour time period. And then you'd have to play like 2 or 3 games offline as well. And getting all those agendas done every single day would get you 5,000 MT, which is really nice. And we still have those agendas as of this recording, which is Saturday, November 29th. Moments cards also returned as a part of a player movement, or players over profit movement, that I'm going to be talking about a little later on in the Season 2 section of today's episode. I know people were not happy at the tier of the moment cards, which, varied between amethyst and diamond cards. It felt like there were a few times where we saw superstars drop, 55, 60 plus points, I feel like, and we did not get player items or moment items for those players. And I mean, I was frustrated too that we didn't get those moment cards for the better players, the big star name household players in the NBA. But I'm also not surprised. I did not think 2K was going to do that for us. And maybe I'm just being a little too passive and not as critical as I should be. But I was just happy to see the return of moment cards because, well, quite frankly, I don't think we've seen moment cards in my team for a long time. And the last time that 2K implemented moment cards in a way that I enjoyed engaging with them was what was it, 2K22, I want to say, where I think we had moments of the month, and we didn't even get that until I think a few months into NBA 2K22's life cycle. And if it was not NBA 2K22, I apologize. I'm not the MyTeam historian that some of the other content creators are. My only claim to fame is I played the very first ever NBA 2K MyTeam back in 2K13, and my golden era of MyTeam is 2K13 through 2K17. So while I'm not the historian, I'm definitely one of the resident boomers, I feel like, that is still left in this community, even if I play the game on a more casual level. They buffed some of the mode rewards, such as these 5 pink diamond cards that you see right here in the middle, and then they also did buff the Robert Horry domination reward for season 2 as well, allowing him to be evoed up to a pink diamond, which was also pretty nice. Like, it was a welcome change because, again, we're going to talk about these mode rewards in a second, but they were underwhelming, to say the least. The wild gem exchanges in season 2, I think personally, were a significant improvement over what we got in season 1, where we got those, I don't know if it was 5 or 6 pink diamonds on the first Tuesday of season 1, where I think it was Caitlin Clark, Scottie Pippen, Kevin Garnett, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Joel Embiid, and there may be one other guy. I apologize, I don't remember exactly, but assuming it was just those 5, those were the only 5 cards that we saw, I believe, put in the exchange on Tuesdays as a part of this new Wild Gem initiative that 2K has been pushing on every single Tuesday, right? That continued into season 2, but the nice thing that 2K did, which was one of the requests that I had made, I believe, in my season 1 recap, season 2 review or preview pod with Harry a few weeks ago, was that I would like to see the Wild Gems exchange options expand to include players of lower tiers, so that the people that are not going to be chasing these pink diamonds and their insane, price tags in order to get them, have something to grind for, or at least something to earn from the exchange if they have, other wild gem pieces that they want to throw into the exchange. And I was able to do that in getting Diamond Mitchell Robinson, and all those cards are still available in the exchange, and I've been hoarding onto a bunch of my wild gem cards, waiting to see what we get on this first Tuesday of season 3, so that I could see if I want to maybe use my wild gem assets towards some of the new cards, or do I want to go into the exchange and try to get players who I've been saving up for, such as Isaiah Hartenstein, again, not like a desirable card, a card that people want, or Alperen Şengün, who I think people wanted, but maybe not as much now that he's been out in the exchange for a few weeks. I still would like to have those cards on my team, just because, if I ever get back to playing salary cap, I think having Amethyst and Diamond cards for, all future seasons as well is really important. And we talked about that a lot in the salary cap reports throughout the year last year in NBA 2K25 MyTeam, that I really felt like the foundation for your team really came down to the lower tier cards. And while you can't necessarily classify Diamond as like truly lower tier budget cards yet, in my opinion, I think they're going to get there this season now that we're getting more Galaxy Opals and packs. And so I would like to have the flexibility to maybe include a couple of diamonds in my future salary cap lineups that are at, closer to 2,000 salary. But I'm going down a different rabbit hole here, I apologize. But the point is, going back to the exchanges for the Wild Gems on Tuesdays, I thought 2K did a really good job of adding more variety. We also had cards like Yegor Demon, the Brooklyn Nets point guard, who I think is like 6'7" or 6'8" in his own right. Maybe he's even 6'9". And that card, while he's not like elite, he's a free-ish, easy to, snipe and obtain Amethyst point guard. That card could be a demon in salary cap, in future seasons as well. And then, I think the last thing I had in my positive / not negative section for season 2 is I believe we did get more locker codes. And while not every single locker code was incredible, or maybe I don't know if we had any that were incredible actually, but there were some that were bad. There were some that were decent. Then we had like at least one or two that were good. Like we had that deluxe pack ball drop. That was pretty decent. I mean, we're getting a free amethyst. I think there are times, and I don't mean to side with 2K at all here. I just think there are some bad eggs in the MyTeam community who, will get we'll get a locker code for something like, for example, not just that deluxe pack, but we got the locker code to kick off season 3, although it was technically during season 2 because it was Thanksgiving, for the Pink Diamond Moments Jalen Johnson card, and people were complaining that card was not very good, and he was basically comparable to the Diamond Jalen Johnson card. And if you wanted to complain that we got a card that was a Moments card via a locker code, and then that was lazy from 2K compared to other locker codes that we've gotten in the past, okay, fine, whatever. But if you compare the Jalen Johnson to what we got last year around the same time, around Thanksgiving, that Pink Diamond locker code that we got that had an option pack had 5 players that I think for the most part were pretty mediocre. Like, I think the best player last year was arguably Chauncey Billups because he was the most well-rounded of all the cards. And then that Chauncey Billups card, if you used him, you would have realized that his jumper was borderline unusable online. At least now with Jalen Johnson, I think you can use that card online, even though he's not great, like his jumper is not great or anything like that. But then what's nice is they coupled up that Jalen Johnson blocker code with a set of agendas that would get you a Pink Diamond collectible from the new MyTeam Festival event. So that was kind of nice. I mean, honestly, if you guys expected more from 2K on Thanksgiving, I know maybe in years past they were more generous, but this is a new era of MyTeam, and it's been different, I think, since 2K24. And I think if you've been playing the game mode for years and you chose to play in 2K24, 2K25, and 2K26, and you're still complaining over the past 2 years about where this game is, but yet as you're complaining, you're still playing the game every day and you're still spending money on the game every week or every couple of weeks, I just don't know what to tell you. Like, you're just not going to see change approaching the game in that way. So that's my stance. Again, there were a number of things that I thought 2K did well, or at least they didn't absolutely ruin. I wanted to touch on those things first. Let me see how far along into this recording we are now. Okay, look, 12 minutes. I spent almost 12 minutes-ish talking about some of the things that were just not negative, right? Some positive, some not negative, but, there are obviously plenty of things that I was frustrated about with season 2, and I think it starts with the mode rewards, and like these players right here, and how they correlated into the actual game mode rewards that we had in the game. So again, these 5 Pink Diamonds essentially replaced the Jack Sigma, Glenn Rice, and Jason Kidd Pink Diamond cards that we were able to obtain by grinding out our game mode of choice and obtaining one of those mode completion cards back in season 1. In season 2, we had a choice of 5 players once we got our first season 2 mode completion token. But the problem is all these cards, if you remember back when season 2 came out, they weren't just bad. I think they were all basically unusable. Like, for example, if we go from right to left here, Wes Unseld was a card that a lot of people were very excited about because Wes Unseld historically has always been a really good card. He's very undersized as a power forward, being only 6'7", but because of that, 2K has always overcompensated for that by giving him, at least I think, a pretty nice jumper, really nice ratings, and unfortunately 2K I think gave this card like a 40 or a 53 pointer when he first came out, so that made this card very unusable. Mitch Richmond was fine, but he paled in comparison in basically every major category to the Pink Diamond Klay Thompson, who everyone got for just hitting level 40. And honestly, if you were one of the many people in season 1 who got Diamond Bruce Bowen, even that card, I think, was not just better than Pink Diamond Mitch Richmond, he was much better than Pink Diamond Mitch Richmond. Sidney Moncrief just felt like a significantly worse version of Pink Diamond Jason Kidd. Moncrief is known for being, this elite stopper at the point guard position, and he's the card that I usually enjoy trying to add and running with on my team because I enjoy players of that archetype at the point guard position. Players that aren't looking to score all the time but can play great defense, have great passer ratings or great passing ratings, And then they have, like decent passing badges, like Hall of Fame Dimer, so on and so forth. The problem is, if I compare Moncrief to Jason Kidd, if they were to leave Jason Kidd wide open, I can knock down a three with him. Sidney Moncrief, I think, had like a 60 or somewhere around that range for a 3-point rating. And again, just like with Wes Unseld, I'm not going to be able to shoot with a player like Sidney Moncrief, who has a jump shot, even if it's a good jumper, with a 63-point rating. So that made this card kind of irrelevant. John Havlicek, kind of like with Wes Unseld, he was pretty undersized, and honestly, he was kind of mid, if not worse than mid, in all of his stats across the board. So he was like well-rounded, but nothing was better than average on his 2K DB page when he first came out. And then Elton Brand was one of the bigger disappointments. I think Elton Brand, either him or Wes Unseld, had that 43-point rating, and it was just so confusing. Like Elton Brand, when we first saw this graphic, I thought everyone's going to grind for Elton Brand. He's going to be the best option here, and he ended up being just pretty terrible because, again, he's 6'9", he can play the small forward, but he can't shoot threes. So, that was also really, really frustrating. And then looking at these cards, right? I think while the Pink Diamond rewards here were pretty brutal, I mentioned earlier how they got buffed, and that was pretty nice to see from 2K. But my issue more so became where these Diamond and Amethyst rewards that you see here, how they got incorporated in all of the different game modes and in the Pro Pass and in the Season Pass. And this is the next thing I want to talk about is, for the first time since 2K brought the Pro Pass into NBA 2K MyTeam, it felt like the Pro Pass may actually not be worth it unless you're someone like me who just doesn't spend a ton of time playing this game and really benefits from having those double XP tokens. I mean, in Season 2, I didn't get Chris Bosh until there was like 4 or 5 days left in the season. I just did not have the motivation to want to play this game when I did have free time. I was playing other games like Pokemon ZA and playing the ranked mode in that game. And because of that, I ended up not getting Chris Bosh until like 4 days or so left in Season 2. And I would not have even had the opportunity to get Chris Bosh had I not had the double XP tokens, which I got from the Pro Pass. So for me, it was still worth it. Plus, I got New York Knicks sixth man legend J.R. Smith as the Pro Pass card, so that was pretty cool. But outside of that, 2K made a couple of changes to both the basic season pass and the Pro Passes season prizes, which were really, really frustrating and really unfortunate to see. So going back to Season 1 for the Pro Pass, we had Amethyst Kevin Durant. At level 33, I believe, we got a 92+ hidden gem player. And at level 37, I think 2K gave us a 92+ hidden gem option pack. And I think that option pack was if you had the Pro Pass, whereas at level 33, I think just on the basic pass, you got the 92+ hidden gem player. For Season 2, as I mentioned, we got J.R. Smith as our Pro Pass player. And he was not nearly as good or as impactful as the Amethyst Kevin Durant. The Amethyst KD, I think, was one of the most impactful Pro Pass players that I can recall since, was it Ruby Giannis 2 years ago in NBA 2K24 MyTeam? That Ruby Giannis was a demon for a really, really long time in terms of, somewhat online, but mostly offline. That KD, I think, is still a really viable card for offline play, not as much for online anymore. That J.R. Smith, because his jumper is pretty bad, it was kind of ruled out in terms of online effectiveness immediately, which is kind of frustrating. But then more so frustrating than that, because I still think J.R. Smith was totally fine to get as a Pro Pass player. At level 33, in Season 2, we got a 90+ premium pack instead of getting the 92+ hidden gems. So we downgraded from Season 1 to Season 2, and then to make matters worse, a number of people, and I believe I fall into this bucket as well, got WNBA players out of that pack. I got Kyle Lowry, I think, as my 92+ hidden gem reward for hitting level 33 in Season 1, and I was kind of bummed about that. I was significantly more bummed to see that we were getting a 90+ premium player at level 33 last season, and that player ended up being some WNBA player who is not going to see the floor for me literally ever, So that was kind of frustrating. And then at level 37, 2K, instead of giving us a 92+ hidden gem option pack, gave us an option pack with all of the diamond cards that you see here. I think there were other diamond cards as well, but they were also all pretty terrible. I think Bob Love was the only card that was somewhat good. The rest of these cards were all really, really underwhelming. And, I'm always talking on this channel about how I'm the kind of person who I prefer to have guaranteed value than to have RNG packs as rewards in this game. It was one of my biggest issues with the game last year, and it was one of the reasons I was so optimistic about the state of my team in Season 1, where we know right away at the start of Season 1, grinding out game modes and getting mode completion cards are going to get us to basically to the point where we can pick either Jason Kidd, Jack Sigma, or Glenn Rice, and all three of them were incredibly viable. And while I didn't think 2K was going to maintain that level of, or that, the high quality prizes that we were getting throughout the course of a season, like again with Jack Sigma, Glenn Rice, and Jason Kidd, I was hopeful that we would see at least 1 to 2 players on this page right here that would have been worth grinding for from the start of the season. And while some of these pink diamonds looked better after they got buffed, the diamonds did not get buffed, and they were all at best mid to significantly below average. These amethyst cards were just flat out undesirable, and amethyst cards in Season 2 still play a pivotal role in a lot of players who are no money spent. It plays a pivotal role in their lineups. And so to get, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we have 10 amethyst cards right here. I don't think one of them were desirable by the community at large. The only card I think I was really excited about when I saw this list was Alex English, because Alex English's cards every year are one of my favorite cards to run with. They made this card small forward, power forward eligible, instead of being small forward shooting guard eligible, and then they gave him a horrifically low 3-point shot. So they nerfed this card in 2 different ways, and those 2 ways took one of my cards who I've always enjoyed running with in the game every year, took him from being the card I was most hyped for to putting him tied for last place for the card I was the least excited for. And if you're wondering who Alex English was tied with for least or for last place, it was with all the other cards. Every card here was tied for last place because I did not care for any of them. Whenever I was grinding out a game mode, whether it was breakout or anything else, or it was grinding out levels from the basic pass and the pro pass, and I would get some amethyst pack or amethyst option pack of the Season 2 amethyst players from this collection right here, I literally could not care less. Like, I quick opened every single time as often as I could, because again, not one of these players are going to do anything for me. The most useful case for any of these players is going to be under the exhibitions tab in this game, and that is sad. I should not be looking at all these players. Like, I'm looking at all these players that we have right here. We have 11 down here, we have 5 up here, and we have 5 over here, right? We have 21 players, I think, if my math is mathing right now, on the screen. How do you show us 21 players and not one of them gets the crowd excited? That was really, really frustrating, and honestly, one of the more, between that and the rewards, like us getting rewarded with these players, it was one of the more frustrating uses of mode reward cards that I've ever seen in a MyTeam before. And you can tell it's bad when, again, I was just talking about how I'm always the kind of person who's pro guaranteed value over RNG value. If we get rewards like this every single season, and we're going to talk about the Season 3 players in a second here, these rewards made me miss RNG rewards. It made me miss getting, the hidden gems packs and stuff like that, because, at least you had a chance to get something good, even if you more often than not got something bad. Here, you knew you were grinding for doggy doo-doo, and I did not care for grinding for any of these cards, and that's why we are now over 24 hours into Season 3. I didn't walk away with any of these pink diamond cards right here. And yes, again, I know they got buffed, and I know some of these cards, namely Sidney Moncrief and Elton Brand, became much better and became much more usable. Once they had buffed everything at that stage of the season, I just did not think it was worth playing the game. Like, 2K had left such a sour taste in my mouth, at least, when it came to what they were giving us to grind for in this game, that I just didn't have the motivation to fire up the game and play it more than I already did. My only concern with Season 2 was hitting level 40 to get Chris Bosh, and again, I did so with 96 hours to go in the season. So moving on now from the Pro Pass, the Basic Pass, and these mode rewards, let's talk about the exchange, right? Because you would take your Season 1 your Season 1 mode exchange collectible, and if you already had the Glenn Rice, the Jack Sigma, and the Jason Kidd, well, you were then able to turn that collectible into either 50,000 MT, a legend badge option pack, which I believe had no limit, so you could keep doing that over and over again as long as you were able to accrue more of those season 1 mode completion tokens. Or you could also walk away with a 95 plus hidden gem, which I thought was incredible value. And while I did not think 2K was going to give us an opal hidden gem exchange in season 2, because it was still too early to get that, I thought we were at least a lock to get another hidden gem exchange option to use our season 2 mode completion collectible on. But no, 2K actually ended up removing that from the exchange, which I thought was honestly pretty hilarious. Like, 2K, I think, felt like they had just given us too many good rewards in season 1, and so not only did they make all the players on this screen bad, but they made the other options that we would have had, back in season 1, that we were looking forward to redeeming in season 2. They took all those options out. 2K, again, they're a very smart company. They're a greedy company, yes, but they're a very, very intelligent company. They have people who are making all these choices regarding the game on a season by season basis, and they know exactly what to do to try to limit how rewarding the game mode can be. They knew all these players that they were giving us here were going to be awful, and so instead of giving us other options that we could use our mode collectibles on, they ended up removing those to make it feel like, well, if we get any of those mode collectibles, we could then turn them into one of these players, and if not for that, they didn't really give us much else to get. I think if that hidden gems 95 plus was in the exchange, we would see significantly more people in this community, like myself, put in the effort to maybe do a full gauntlet run just to get at least one of those season 2 mode completion collectibles to put towards that 95 plus. But since that wasn't there, people like myself did not end up grinding for any of those mode 2 completion collectibles, which is kind of sad. Let's just briefly go over each of the game modes, at least the ones that I have in my list right here. We can talk about how they were nerfed. Showdown. In Season 1, if you hit Tier 1 and you stayed in Tier 1 every single week, you were walking away with a number of rewards, including a 92 plus hidden gems card every single week. In Season 2, they removed the 92 plus hidden gem for hitting Tier 1 and staying in Tier 1, and they replaced it with 2 hidden gem 87 plus cards, which I don't know why 2K, I mean, I know why this happened, but it's just so silly that 2K went out of their way to remove things from the exchange, or at least remove the one thing that everyone cared about from the exchange if the mode rewards were going to be trash like they were. They ended up removing the 92 plus hidden gem, and honestly, hidden gems were not available in the season pass either. As I mentioned earlier, they replaced the hidden gem packs with these option packs for those, the diamond cards that you see on your screen right here. And then, in Showdown, they removed from there as well, which is really frustrating. Salary cap, which is, my favorite game mode to play online, but that comes with a caveat, right? I like grinding the game mode because I felt like, while I enjoyed the journey, and look, we played a lot of salary cap last year, I mostly got rewards that I did not want at all in terms of those RNG packs that I got at the end of every single run in salary cap. This year, or earlier in Season 1, in salary cap, hitting 2,500 points in every single round got you a hidden gems diamond option pack, and I forget who I ended up taking out of mine. I think I got Larry Nance, because it was between, I think, Larry Nance and Jonathan Isaac for me. And Larry Nance, he's still a fun card to run offline. I mean, he's a diamond 6'10" small forward, basically, who is, again, not elite, but kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none. And honestly, I would have taken Larry Nance over any of these pink diamonds here pre-buff. And so the fact that we went from that reward in Season 1 to Season 2, where hitting 2,500 points every single round, as I knock a spoon, I don't know where that spoon came from, I apologize if that was really loud, but in Season 2, we ended up getting shatter prize pieces for hitting 2,500 points in every single round, like we did in Season 1. The difference is that the shatter prize pieces in Season 2 of salary cap did not lead to you getting a hidden gems option pack. No, the shatter prize pieces went towards you getting, you guessed it, a Season 2 mode completion token. So Salary Cap went from a game mode that I played like 50 to 60 games of online in season 1. I ended up playing one game of Salary Cap offline in season 2 and not one game of Salary Cap online in season 2. So technically, I finished season 2 of Salary Cap online undefeated, which is pretty damn nice. Except I didn't play any game online in Salary Cap, and that really sucks because to me, if the competition is going to be as sweaty as it is, the reward has to be worth it because there are going to be plenty of times when people like me who are more casual and play this game mode are going to be looking to play online and have fun. And when you're playing against people that sweat this game relentlessly, it's just not going to be worth it for us, in my opinion, if the rewards aren't going to be there for you. So Salary Cap got nuked into the ground and became a game mode that I didn't really want to engage with at all, which really, really sucks. The breakout ladder was also littered with rewards that were not up to par, including the amethyst and diamond mode rewards that you see on the screen right here. We would get diamond and amethyst packs and option packs, but again, they weren't hidden gem or premium diamond and amethyst option packs and regular packs. No, they were only packs that included the 16 cards that you see at the top and bottom of the image right here, which again, incredibly frustrating because of those 16 players, not one of them was really desirable by anybody in the community, which again took a lot of the hope and the excitement that I had for grinding that game or this game mode in my team in season 2. It took all that excitement that I had and kind of threw it away, which really, really sucks. One of the biggest issues in season 2 was domination. You know, we get a new domination every single season, and 2K found a way to innovate with domination in a way that has never been shown before in MyTeam. For the first time ever, 2K essentially introduced a paywall for domination. Because in season 1, just to give you a brief breakdown of how domination worked, rather, Diamond Pascal Siakam was the reward for getting 99 stars, and you had those crest challenges where you have to do like one additional stat-based objective for every single game, and some of them are really, really difficult. Like there was one where you had to get like a certain number of steals, you had to get like a certain number of blocks, and those are really, really difficult, at least for me to get done. And so when I completed all of those crest challenges, all 33 of them, to get a 92 plus, and yes, I didn't get a great player. I think I ended up walking away with Jared McCain. It still felt like it was more worthwhile to grind for that than for what 2K gave us in season 2, where grinding out the 33 games and getting 99 stars in domination in season 2 got you Diamond Robert Horry, who was borderline unusable until he got his buff to get evoed up to a pink diamond halfway through the season. And even then, with all the evo goodness that he got, I think he stayed at like a 75 stamina. So unless you're running him in park or anything like that, that dude is going to be exhausted stepping onto the court. So I had no interest in grinding for Robert Horry, unfortunately. I'm sure the card is fine. I'd rather have Diamond Pascal Siakam, and I'm saying that knowing that we have a pink Diamond Pascal Siakam in the game right now. But that's not the issue. The issue is in order to get all of the stars needed, or I don't know if it was the stars or if it was for the crest, but regardless, if you wanted to complete all of domination in season 2, meaning to get Robert Horry and then to get the 33 crests, you needed to basically have 10 players from every team. And 2K knew that the majority of people, even the people that spent money on the game, didn't have 10 players from every single team. And so what did 2K do? They put packs in the pack market that would give you a random Series 1 player from every single team for 999 VC. There was no MT option. If you wanted to add players to your team, and it wasn't even guaranteed, right? Like, let's say you had every single card on the Phoenix Suns, or we'll say you had like 8 or 9 of the Phoenix Suns players. There was no guarantee that when you open up that pack again, or that if you open up the pack for the first time, that you would get a different player. The odds were you were going to get some sort of unsellable duplicate that you already had, and then you would have to quick sell that duplicate for like 400 to 500 MT. So you're paying 999 VC to, more often than not, get a duplicate unauctionable card, which is incredibly frustrating. And honestly, that's one of the more scummy things 2K has ever done, in my opinion, because domination has always been a game mode basically for the grinders, especially the people that don't play this game online. There are a lot of people who don't play this game online. I was someone who in Season 2 barely played the game online outside of the occasional Sunday park streak during the festivals. Outside of that, I completed basically all of Season 1 domination in Season 2, because if it wasn't for Season 1 domination, even with all of the double XP tokens, I would not have hit level 40 and gotten Chris Bosh before, Season 2 came to an end. Well, for me yesterday, for you guys probably a couple of days ago, because this pod's going to probably come out on Sunday. But the fact that they gate kept domination basically by making you have to pay money in order to get players from all the teams was incredibly scummy, and the juice was definitely not worth the amount of effort that you have to put into it, because the reward at the end of it was not just a Robert Ory, but a Pink Diamond Lenny Wilkens coach who, quite honestly, was just not good. I think he was outclassed pretty quickly by the coach cards that we got in the festivals, and I don't even think he was that much better than the Diamond Angel Reese head coach or the Diamond SGA, for example. I think that Lenny Wilkens is fine, but we're seeing now in Season 3, for example, that, in my opinion at least, the Don Nelson coach card that we have available to us in Season 3, I think is significantly better than Lenny Wilkens. And even if he's not much better, I think he's much easier to obtain than Lenny Wilkens was as the crest reward for domination in Season 2. I have another couple of things to talk about here. We've been talking about Season 2 for a minute. I apologize. It's been 36 minutes. Holy cow. If you made it to this point, shout out to you. I really appreciate you guys for listening. Players over profit. I'm not going to talk about this very much because honestly, there's not a lot to talk about when it comes to players over profit. And that's because it essentially lasted a week or 10 days. And then the minute 2K dropped Hall of Fame boxes in the Chills Festival, it felt like everyone reverted back to dropping money on the game. And look, that's totally fine. I can't be critical because I was not a part of the players over profit movement. And that's not because I spent money on the game, but I was not coming out on YouTube and dropping players over profit videos trying to rile up the community. I thought the movement was cool, and I am a big fan of the community, binding together, locking arms and kind of peacefully protesting what was happening in my team, especially because it ended up resulting in some change, right? We started to get the moments cards come out on a, I can't even say on a more frequent basis, because we went from getting no moments cards to getting moment cards. I think the players over profit movement is when we started to see the daily agendas change from us getting Series 1 base packs to now getting 5,000 MT every day. So that's pretty dope, but I still feel like 2K could have done more, and honestly would have done more if the community stayed connected and they stayed committed to that goal, right? The whole point of players over profit was to, try to make the game mode a better, more enjoyable, ecosystem for all players, not just the money spent players. But the problem, at least in my opinion, was that the majority of the people who were, going under 2K's tweets and saying players over profit were the people that weren't really spending money. And what we saw after just a week, maybe even less than that, was instead of people pointing the finger at 2K after 5 days, we had people pointing fingers at Los Polos, at other money spenders who said they were gonna stop opening up packs. We saw people like CB the Grenade, I think, walk away from the game during that time, and CB the Grenade seemed like a pretty chill dude. He obviously had his own demons, but we all do. And I'm not a big fan of CB basically getting bullied online to the point that he had to deactivate his Twitter. I don't know if we're ever going to see him again. It's not a huge deal for me because I had no connection to that guy, but as someone that's not affiliated with this movement at all or with any of the people involved, it was kind of rough to see that happen. And I think the minute you saw CB the Grenade walk away from Twitter, but more so than that, you saw people pointing the finger at Los. I felt like that was kind of not the final nail in the coffin, but it might have been the first significant nail in the coffin to where it felt like, okay, once 2K gives the community literally anything that could get them excited in the pack market, they're just going to go back to ripping packs. And then 2K obviously dropped the Chills Festival a week or so later, and then it was kind of, we were kind of cooked when it comes to that players over profit movement. The festival itself was not horrible for the no money spent players because you were able to get Diamond OG Anunoby and other cards like Amethyst Zachary Risachet. I did not get Amethyst Zachary because I totally forgot to redeem my other pumpkin cards. I got Diamond OG, and I was so out on my team and the Chills Festival as a whole that I just kind of stopped playing the game for a bit. And I got on one day late after the festival had come to an end, thinking I still had time to redeem the pumpkins, and I was not able to. So trust me that I will hopefully do a better job at redeeming everything I want from the MyTeam Festival, which is currently going on as of this recording. Should be going on for at least another week or so. There were other positives from the Chills Festival besides the Diamond OG and the Amethyst cards that I mentioned, like Zachary. We had Wild Gems duos, and even if you didn't care for those duos, we had better dynamic duos in last year's MyTeam. But the Wild Gems duos were good to pick up just because it would give you more players in your collection to put towards the future Wild Gem exchanges that we get. You know, cards like Alperen Şengün's Diamond that we got in Season 2 are going to still be viable for you in the game, both offline and online, and his exchange requirements, I think, include a bunch of gold or higher Wild Gem cards. So, you know, you don't have to go into the auction house and pay 2 to 3K for gold Wild Gems, when you could just take the excess collectibles that you have from the festival and put it towards those Wild Gem duos, so that every time you do that, you're walking away with 2 Wild Gem cards that you can throw into the exchange. So I thought that was a pretty nice thing in terms of, you know, what 2K gave us in the exchange during the Chills Festival. The majority of the remainder of the exchanges were just flat out either not attainable, not worth it, or both. The promo 10 boxes were very affordable in previous exchanges in NBA 2K25 MyTeam. The 10 box for the Chills Festival was very expensive. I forget exactly what it required, but it was very difficult to find the value in exchanging. I think it was like 2 diamonds or like a pink diamond collectible for a 10 box, whereas I think in previous year, or not in previous years, last year, I think it cost you like one of the lower tier collectibles just to get it done. Because I mean, look, let's face it, those 10 boxes for the most part are just going to give you Series 1 and Gems of the Game cards, so you're not even going to walk away with a player from the set more often than not. So with that being said, why would I want to use one of my more, you know, high value collectibles from grinding out the game on that? You know, at least make it a lower tier, a lower cost exchange rather, so that I don't feel as bad putting collectibles in for it. And then we just did not get enough agendas or ways to grind and earn more of those collectibles. They did bring back the park streak, which was nice, and they thankfully reverted back from the 25 win streak that we had for the first Sunday in Season 1, and they gave us the Pink Diamond Halloween collectible for just winning 5 games in a row. So that was a W. That was really nice to see. Obviously, the shoe and badge method nerfed into oblivion. I think 2K knew right away last year when people were just turning those festivals into a way to just, you know, pump out MT like crazy, that 2K had to make a change in order to limit the amount of MT we were getting in that regard. Last thing here for Season 2, because this kind of leads into Season 3, the MyTeam Festival, which is still currently going. It started, I think, last weekend. We're getting more agendas on a day-to-day basis, especially compared to the Chills Festival. I know that the collectibles that we're getting are mostly Ruby, and that is an L for sure, but I like the concept of getting agendas essentially every single day. Like, I love that, and I want 2K to do that for future agendas. That was the one, like, not the biggest issue, but it was one of the biggest issues I had with the Chills Festival, is after that first weekend, it didn't really feel like we were getting many agendas to grind for more of those pumpkin collectible cards, and that is not a thing with the MyTeam Festival that we currently have. We're getting a lot of agendas. Again, I know they're basically resulting in you getting a Ruby every single day, but every once in a while, 2K is giving us an Amethyst or a Diamond, or, you know, when we got Jalen Johnson's locker code, a Pink Diamond collectible, so that is pretty nice. More of this. I want 2K to, you know, give us more ways to earn collectibles, and I think 2K did a much better job of that in this MyTeam Festival. Unfortunately, still the exchange has mostly unattainable stuff, which is really, really frustrating. Okay, almost 45 minutes in. Let's move on now to Season 3. I want to take a moment here just to take a break to get a sip of water, but I want you guys now to use this little intermission of like 15 seconds to tell me, what are your thoughts on Season 2? And I also really want to know, how would you compare Season 2 to Season 3? Because I know it's still early, and I'm not going to give season 3 a grade because we are, again, just 24 hours or so past season 3 going live, and we still have to see what we get on Tuesday. Usually, I'm usually honestly better off waiting a week to record these podcasts because once a full week has passed, you kind of get a sense for what the cycle is going to look like for my team for the remainder of the season, outside of any festivals that 2K is going to drop, which, we are going to get the holiday festival during season 3. So, but yeah, let me know in the comments down below, I guess, what letter grade would you give season 2? And again, by the time this pod is over, I would love to know what your thoughts are on season 3 as well, because, there are a lot of people out there that are saying season 3 is worse than season 2. I still think it's kind of too early to make any proclamations like that, but I do think there are some things that season 3 has done so far that are better than season 2. Okay, and I appreciate you guys dealing with my stumbling, stuttering, and rambling here and there. So I have taken notes, but I'm also trying to kind of wing some of this stuff off the fly, and that's probably why I'm like stuttering over my words here and there. So I do apologize for that. All right, season 3. This is not going to take nearly as long as season 2. I want to start with the exchange. So we saw on Twitter. I don't know if I can scroll back and take a look at it here. It shouldn't take too long to scroll. Did they show it here? No, that's for the promo. My goat. Okay, hold on. I think we can just click here probably, but I could have sworn they had some image with Marc Gasol on it. I want to talk about Gasol. We can click on this for now, I guess. But this is just with all the different leveling stuff. But anyways, we have a Galaxy Opal Marc Gasol. And a lot of people, myself included, thought that he would be the domination player, in place of Robert Horry, basically from last season. But no, Marc Gasol's Opal card, which the card looks elite. Don't get me wrong. Like I should say he looks elite outside of his low speed, which is a 79, I believe. And then his jumper is pretty terrible. I mean, I don't know when the last time was that Marc Gasol had a jump shot that was like legitimately viable online. I mean, maybe I'm dating myself here, but I remember in 2K17 we had a Throwback Thursday Marc Gasol card that came out, and I remember that card was one of the first stretch bigs that was perfect in my eyes. A card that was a good 3-point shooter, he had a good jumper, and he was an elite defensive center. Marc Gasol, ratings wise and badge wise, is going to give you exactly that as well, except that jumper is bad to the point where you may not get wide open threes off online, and then his speed is just not great, and he is only 6'11". So, if he was, a slightly taller center with a much better jumper, then maybe I could justify grinding out 3 mode completion cards. I just don't have that in me. And then the issue is, if we now look at the players here, I don't know if they show them here. Is it these guys? No, that's the MyTeam Festival promo. And maybe 2K doesn't have it here. Here's your domination. We'll talk about domination in a second. Black Friday in MyTeam. They're not here, right? No, these are just... We'll talk about that in a second too. I don't even have Black Friday in my list of notes. Okay, hold on. Let's go to 2KDB. Is it not up here? Really? All right, hold on. Okay, 2KDB. Let's take a look at... We can go to Season 3. And I want to just talk about some of these reward cards. So, Alonzo Mourning is the card you get at level 30, I believe. And if you look... And then Cade Cunningham is the Pro Pass card. We'll talk about Cade Cunningham in a moment here. So, the pink diamonds that are of note that we have to talk about. Let me do this for Season... There we go. Season 3 rewards. Okay, so... The pink diamonds that are the new mode rewards, essentially, for Season 3 are Anthony Simons, Coutinho Mobley, Joe Smith, and Tom Gugliotta. Now, these cards are essentially replacing... So if you go back to this graphic right here, right? So last season... We had these 5 pink diamonds, these 5 diamonds, and then these 11 amethyst cards, right? This season, if you take a look, these opals are obviously your level 40. We'll talk about him a little later. Marc Gasol is in the exchange. Paige Beckers and Alonzo Mourning are level up rewards, I believe. Elgin Baylor is domination. Isaiah Thomas is from the Ascension. Cade Cunningham is a pro pass, like we talked about. Then we have Nene, who I think is one of our diamonds for this season. I think all these diamonds are from grinding out this season outside of Kyrie Irving, who is I think he's also a level up reward at level 20. So I think we should have 11 or 10 diamonds. So let me just make sure that's true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yes, these 10. And then we have Duran and Kuzma. Duran's another level up, and so is Kuzma. So again, comparing it back to here, we had amethysts, diamonds, and pink diamonds, right? Here, we have the same exact tiers. So I know some people wanted to have opal rewards. That ended up not being the case. The issue I have here is, once again, these pink diamonds are pretty unexciting, pretty uninspiring. I mean, Mobley is absolutely awful. He's a 6'4" shooting guard with a really bad jumper, I believe. Anthony Simons, a fun point guard for sure. He's going to be horrific on defense. Joe Smith kind of looks pretty good on paper, but I know his jumper is apparently not very good. Tom Gugliotta is actually pretty damn solid. He's going to be a 6'10" small forward with some pretty decent ratings, in my opinion, and some really nice badges, including on the defensive side of the ball. Also comes with Hall of Fame Deadeye. He should be a really fun card. I think if you're going to get any of these mode reward cards this season, you could easily get Tom Gugliotta, and then I don't know if it'll show it here. Let me go. Okay, is it here in the levels? I just really want to show the levels. This is only Pro Pass, I guess, huh? Yeah, it's not going to show it here. Actually, no, it does show it here. So at level 37, if you have the Pro Pass, you get a pink diamond season 3 reward pack, and DBG I think showed it on his Twitter. I don't have it pulled up, otherwise I would take a look, but I want to give credit to DBG because that's where I saw it. Hitting level 37 gets you an option pack, but now with 5 random pink diamonds. Because I saw people talking on Twitter about how, oh, you're better off waiting until the end of the season so that you get more pink diamond premium players. That could be an option in your pack. No, unfortunately, the 5 cards in that pack are going to be Coutinho Mobley, Anthony Simons, Joe Smith, Tom Gugliotta, and then a random legend badge. So unless you get a really elite legend badge, that's going to probably be the time where you want to get Tom Gugliotta, unless you want to put time into playing the game and grinding out for a season 1 mode or season 3 mode completion card. You may also be grinding out the game a lot, and you may want to put the 3 season mode completion cards towards Marc Gasol. But again, as we talked about, he's got kind of low speed and his jumper is not elite. The card looks great. Like, I'm not complaining. Like, I want to be very, very clear. I'm not going to be grinding for this card because I wish he didn't cost 3 season 3 mode completion cards. Even if he cost, 2, I'd be a little more inclined to at least try possibly. But there really is no easy way to grind out season 3 mode completion cards once you get the one from playing through Gauntlet. And that's a big issue for me. Speaking of the exchange, the Hidden Gem Pink Diamond pack is back. I kind of wish that was upgraded now to an opal, given the fact that we are in season 3 and we're getting opals in packs. But at least we have the 95 plus Hidden Gem back. I'm assuming in season 4 we'll see the Hidden Gem 97 plus pack be added to the exchange. The Legend Badge option pack is now also limited to just 1, which is kind of frustrating. Again, I want to just briefly talk about these mode rewards. I said how in season 2 the rewards were all pretty terrible. I think these pink diamonds that I talked about are better than the pink diamonds that you see here. Maybe after they got buffed, maybe you would want to take Moncrief or Elton Brand over a couple of these guys, but I'd rather have Tom Gugliotta, I think, over any of the season 2 pink diamond mode rewards. And I personally think some of these diamonds are much better than what we got in season 2. I know there are people on YouTube that are saying that all these diamonds are total trash, and I'm not saying, oh, you guys should be excited that we're getting decent diamond cards that you can earn from playing the game. But for example, Trevor Ariza is always a card I enjoy running with in this game. He's my ideal 3-and-D wing player. I wish he was shooting guard eligible, but it is what it is. Like, he's not, but that card should be a lot of fun to run with. Lou Dort, I mean, I wish he was point guard eligible, just like another card who I will obviously be complaining about not being point guard eligible. But Lou Dort's going to be a fun card to run with as well. John Long, I had his Amethyst card last year. That card was a dog. I think this Diamond card is going to be really good. And I think I talked about it in the salary cap report episode that dropped yesterday. But Nene, I had his Amethyst last year and I loved his card as well. So right there, you have 3 to 4 Diamond cards. And, Nene, John Long, Trevor Ariza, and then if you're into him as a Diamond player, Lou Dort, 3 to 4 cards right there that I think are going to be, fun players that you could, get from one of those Diamond packs, during your grind in Season 3 that you may like. And like, look, again, I'm not going to spend this entire video being critical. Like, when 2K does things, even if it's like small W's, like super small, like size 5 font, lowercase W, I will still give them some credit for that. Or not even credit, I will just at least shout them out for that. Because, I wasn't happy about getting any of the diamonds in Season 2. And while they should be doing much better in terms of game mode rewards, in my opinion, these diamonds could be much worse. And we know that because, again, horrific. Moving on from that, we talked about domination briefly. Can I go back and find the domination picture? I think it's a little forward. Here. So domination, I think, is better than Season 2's Dom, even though Robert Horry, Elgin Baylor, neither card really excites me all that much. I mean, Elgin Baylor should be a fun pink diamond shooting guard. He can't even play shooting guard. He's a small forward. So I'm not going to want to run Elgin Baylor if he can't play shooting guard, unfortunately. But even if he plays shooting guard, I would not have been crazy about running him either. Don Nelson is a really, really nice coach card, and the crests are really easy to get done in Season 3. All you need to do is beat these all-time teams by 15 points. And I know it sounds scary because when you boot up the game and you see cards like Opal LeBron James, it's going to freak you out a little bit. But those cards are still playing you on pro difficulty. I mean, I only played one game, and I played against a lower tier team, so I can get 50 points with one of the MyTeam Festival players for an agenda. But I won by like 60 points. And that was with me running plays to try to shoot and score 3-pointers with 92 overall Terrence Ross. So I think if I actually were to play with like all of my best players, I'd be able to get even larger margins of victory by playing domination. So I like that. I'm looking forward to adding Coach Nelson to my team, and hopefully, with the double XP coins that I earn along the way, I think by the time I'm done with domination, I should be at level 40, which is pretty nice, except for the fact that our level 40 card is a 6'4" shooting guard, small forward, Anthony Edwards. Like, the card's gonna be fine, don't get me wrong, but like the height and the position being shooting guard, small forward ruins this card. And I was kind of hopeful that the Pro Pass version would have made him point guard eligible. I just don't think this card is going to be doing all that much for people, and that kind of sucks because like Ant Edwards is a big name. Like, I'm a fan of him. I'm not a huge fan, but I enjoy watching Ant Edwards play basketball in the playoffs every season. There are a couple of former Knicks on that roster in DiVincenzo and Julius Randle, who I have a lot of love for, given what they did for my favorite team in the New York Knicks. And I want to see that team do well whenever they're grinding it out in the playoffs. And part of that is because I like watching Anthony Edwards play basketball. I do not want to watch Anthony Edwards play basketball as a shooting guard or small forward on my team in Season 3. I'm sorry. I don't care if he's the only Galaxy Opal I have. I'd rather run with Klay Thompson, Now, maybe I'll end up changing my tune on Anthony Edwards once I get him, but I can't say seeing him as the level 40 card was cause for optimism and excitement for me playing this game. I was very frustrated to see him at that as the level 40. That was very sad. Which, it is what it is. Anyways, moving on. Breakout now has a new themed opponent. The NBA Cup games are currently going on. I think the group stage just came to an end. My New York Knicks just advanced to make it to the quarterfinals. They're going to play against the Toronto Raptors. And so now in Breakout, we have these NBA Cup teams, which means you have an NBA Cup portal that you can go through, which unfortunately only has full game or full lineup games. Now, I don't really care because I have no interest in grinding out the breakout board or the breakout ladder. But if you are someone who's trying to grind out the breakout ladder to get Marc Gasol, 2K did this intentionally, and I'm going to explain why. Let's go back to Season 1, where you could play against 3 current era teams to get the current portal, and then playing on the current portal and working your way to the corners guaranteed you a Season 1 breakout exchange collectible. You needed 13 of those breakout exchange collectibles to essentially walk away with one mode completion card, which you could then turn into, Glenn Rice, Jack Sigma, Jason Kidd, right? Now, if you do the same exact method that I told you, but now we don't have the current board, right? We have the NBA Cup boards. When you go on that board, you now need to play a board that is full of full lineup games in order to get to the corners. And I know full lineup games, they're annoying, but they're not impossible to deal with. The problem is, let's say you want to grind for Marc Gasol offline, right? The easiest path that I can think of, unless you want to just play 150 salary cap games offline, is to play Gauntlet, play through all 100 games, you get a season mode completion card that way. You play through Breakout, doing the method that I told you, you go into the NBA Cup board, you do that 13 times, you walk away with a another season 3 mode completion card, so that gives you 2. You want to also then complete the Breakout ladder, which requires you playing 250 triple threat games and 250 clutch time games. And if you notice, the one game mode that I did not mention is full lineup games. So playing through the NBA Cup boards is going to halt your progress towards completing the Breakout ladder, which is going to slow you down by a pretty dramatic margin compared to seasons 1 and 2, when you're grinding for that final season 3 mode completion card. So they're really going to make this Opal Marc Gasol a grind, and that's why I can't be all that excited about Opal Marc Gasol, because 2K really made the grind difficult to do for someone that plays this game mode predominantly offline. It's going to make you basically have to play Gauntlet, play through the NBA Cup boards if you want, and then maybe play 150 games of salary cap offline and online. So that's not great. And then, while there are some changes, there are 90 and 92 plus hidden gems on Breakout boards now, apparently. I've only played through one board, and it was a board that I started in Season 2, so I can't, judge anything off of that, literally the world's smallest sample size. But hearing that there are those packs on the board is a W. I like that. And then Pink Diamond Devin Booker, along with a couple of other cards, are supposedly on the NBA Cup boards, so that's kind of fun. I may give a couple of those NBA Cup boards a try. Maybe I'll make a YouTube video on them if I see anything of note for you guys, so I guess keep your eyes peeled for that potential video to come out. But it does really suck that 2K is trying to limit how quickly you can grind these season mode completion collectibles by making every game on the NBA Cup board a full lineup game. We talked about salary cap very quickly. I meant to have my console on for this, but it's fine. You guys can just check for yourself. Hitting 2,500 points in salary cap in every single round is now going to just get you a diamond option pack. And I talked about a number of the diamonds that I care about. Do I care about them enough to want to grind out salary cap to get to 2,500 points? No, I don't think so. I mean, you're going to find replacements for all those diamond cards that I mentioned on the auction house for probably 20K or less. There are probably amethyst cards that you could find that are going to be just as good, if not better, than those Season 3 diamond cards. So I just can't advocate that anyone should be playing salary cap right now, which really sucks. I have a big decision to make regarding whether or not I want to keep making salary cap report content for you guys. I know this is kind of late into the video. We're at the hour and 4 minute mark roughly. But if you made it to this point, once again, I appreciate you. But I want to really ask you guys, because I make those salary cap report videos for you guys and for me, because I do enjoy making them. But I feel like now that we're approaching a second season where I don't even know if I'm going to play the game mode, I don't know if it's worth me making salary cap report episodes. I only played one game of salary cap. Well, actually, I played 2. I played another one this weekend for one of the agendas. But that means in the last 6 to 7 weeks, I've only played 2 games of salary cap, and they were both offline. Do you guys even want me to keep making those salary cap report videos? Do you find them helpful? Because if you don't, I will be very clear. I will not take any offense if you guys say, hey, I appreciate the effort, but I don't really care for that series anymore because salary cap is a dead game mode to me. I would actually completely respect and value that opinion, because I unfortunately kind of agree too. And that really sucks, because I want salary cap to be in a place where it's a game mode that's worth grinding. And right now, I just cannot say that it is, you know? So that's at least where I'm at with that game mode. I'm curious to know where you guys are with that game mode. Last thing to talk about right here, because we already talked about Anthony Edwards. Cade Cunningham. Just want to show this to you guys very, very quickly. So if I type Cade, so this is the Pro Pass Cade. If I compare him to the Hidden Gems Cade, because everyone, myself included, thought we were just going to get the Hidden Gems Cade Cunningham as a copy and paste version of the Pro Pass. The Pro Pass Cade has 7 less gold badges than the Hidden Gems Cade, and if you take a look down here, the only real areas where so funny, man. The only areas where the Pro Pass Cade Cunningham is a better version of the Hidden Gems Cade Cunningham is regarding his shot IQ and his intangibles. And if you don't know, those 2 ratings that I just mentioned are ratings that 2K uses to inflate the value of their cards. So usually whenever you see a player with lower intangibles, that actually means that 2K is intentionally lowering the overall of that card. And if you see a player item that has, in this case, 70 or closer to like 90 intangibles, that card's basically like a lower tier card than the rating would suggest. Let's take a look at Jalen Johnson. I'm curious what the moments Jalen Johnson is. Where is he? Did I spell the name wrong? Hold on. Is it Johnson? I cannot spell right now. Oh, he is right here. Okay, that's silly. So I want to look at him, and then I want to look at like Brunson. My captain, Jalen Brunson. Okay, so Jalen Johnson, he has a 60 intangible rating. So like, not bad. Like, so this card probably is like somewhat of a real pink diamond, but if you compare him to his diamond Hidden Gems card, they're not that different. And then the pink diamond Jalen Brunson is at a 50. So I feel like when a pink diamond has a 50 intangible rating, I feel like that usually means they truly are a pink diamond. Whereas like anything above 50, they're probably closer to like a diamond. And then if they're closer to like a 90 or 99 intangible rating, that pink diamond that you have is probably like an amethyst card, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't like when 2K does that. But regardless, I still think that Cade Cunningham card, which I think I now skipped over, whatever, it's fine. Yeah, I think this Cade Cunningham card is still a good card. I still think if you are someone who's going to spend money on this game, I still think the Pro Pass is a decent value at $10. Does this Cade Cunningham have better hot zones? No, they both have the same hot zones. Oh my god, dude, I don't care about this Mazda. Not sponsored. Yeah, I think this Cade card is not bad. Could be a lot better, and I know defensively he's a really frustrating card. He only has Rebound Chaser and Pogo Stick as defensive badges, but the card is still not bad. I wish he was faster. I wish he was better on defense, but look, for $10 you're getting a 6'6" point guard who I thought was 6'8" this whole time, but 6'6", 7'1" wingspan, really solid card. I mean, look, ultimately, again, really long video. Shout out to all you guys who made it to this point. Ultimately, it's still too early to judge this season. I think there are some ways that season 2 or season 3 is better than season 2, but I think regardless, both of these 2 seasons are worse than what we had in season 1, and it's really frustrating that it feels like 2K is kind of going out of their way to make the game mode feel incredibly unrewarding compared to what we had in season 1. Not just in the first couple of weeks, but throughout the entirety of season 1. I think, and I talked about this with Harry on the podcast earlier, I think 2K giving us what they gave us in the first week of NBA 2K26's launch cycle, how rewarding the game mode was across any game mode that you wanted to play in MyTeam, to go from what we had to the remainder of season 1, and then to follow that up with 2 pretty bad seasons, I think, in season 2, and we'll see about season 3. I don't want to call it a bad season, but it's off to a rocky start, we'll call it. It's really uninspiring, and I think it's really tough as a casual player to want to get on this game and grind every day. Like, I have no reason to want to leave my shell of a casual player and want to play and grind this game mode every single day, like I did at times in season 1. And it's tough for me because I'm someone that does content creation on this channel as a hobby. I do it strictly for fun, and I want to find ways to bring you guys more fun content. It's just kind of tough, and part of it is just me kind of being, preoccupied with other things. If I had more time, I could probably, dedicate more mental energy towards trying to be more creative content wise on this channel. But I just don't really feel. I'm gonna go on a different page. I don't want to keep looking at ads on 2KDB. I apologize. It's just tough to find, the motivation to make, new content, new series, when the canvas that is NBA 2K26 My Team is just really, beaten up. So anyways, again, I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. This was an hour plus podcast, and it's one of the rare pods that I recorded by myself. I usually have Harry to bounce ideas off of, and to honestly give my voice a break. I felt like my voice is now pretty beat up. Like, I feel like I need to take a break and go have some tea after this. But I really wanted to get this video out for you guys. Any opportunity I get to make, content or a long form video that, I put some work into, like I did take some time this morning going back into the archives of season 2, looking at content creators' YouTube videos, looking at my own YouTube videos, looking at 2KDB and on Twitter, and seeing, not just what content drops we got, but what agendas we got on a week-to-week basis, what people were, happy about or sad about on a week-to-week basis, so that I could put all my thoughts together for you guys on season 2. Season 3, again, has only been live for like 28 hours as of this recording, so not a whole lot of sample size to go through regarding, how people are feeling, or even how I'm feeling, because, we may end up getting something solid on Tuesday, and then if 2K keeps up that solid trend, for the rest of the Tuesdays in season 3, well, then maybe we're in a better place in season 3, and maybe we'll see the tune for a lot of people change regarding this season compared to season 2. But we'll have to see what that ends up looking like on Tuesday. I'm gonna go and take a break now because I'm kind of pooped. But again, final time I'm gonna say this: shout out to all of you guys who made it to the end of this video. I think I did it in one of my previous longer form videos. If you made it to this point of the video, put Brunson in the chat, because Brunson just dropped 37 points on the Milwaukee Bucks head yesterday, leading the Knicks to the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup. So yeah, put Brunson in the chat if you made it to this point. Love you all. I hope you guys are having a really nice, restful weekend. Again, I'm going to grind out this game whenever I can, because, I still enjoy playing the game. I just can't play the game as much as I want to. Part of it is because I physically can't because of time, but the other part of it is just because the game isn't really giving me much reason to get on the game. And I want that to change. I say it every video. I'm still optimistic that there's going to come a point in time in the NBA 2K26 life cycle where they're going to give us a reason with rewards to get on the game and want to grind the game again every single day. And that's why I'm still playing this game. Again, it's basketball, right? I think we're all here because we love playing basketball games, and this is unfortunately the only basketball game that is out there. I'm not going to be that guy that's going to come out here and say I'm going to stop playing my team because I'm protesting the game. No, I still enjoy playing the game. There are other ways to protest the game, and I think bigger than just protesting the game, it shouldn't come down to, I want to stop playing the game because I want to make a change. You should not play the game if you're not enjoying playing the game. I still enjoy playing my team whenever I get on, and that's because I have a method to how long I play the game over the course of a day, over the course of a week. And I guess if I were to end this podcast with like one final piece of advice, it is a tip that I've given to you guys watching my videos in the past, and that's, if you're feeling burnt out or frustrated with this game, the best thing you could do is limit your time on the game. You don't have to necessarily walk away or quit the game. You can if you want to. I just feel like that's kind of dramatic. I feel like your best bet is to just take a break, pour your energy into another hobby, whether that's another game. Like, again, I talked about how I was playing Pokemon Legends ZA. I have other hobbies that I do outside of gaming. There are plenty of other ways that you guys can spend your free time. And I think my team is a game mode right now where when you just spend little pockets of time on it, it's actually a really fun game. But it's when you dump hours and hours into it where you find all the blemishes and the flaws, and then you get frustrated. I don't want anybody watching this video to get to that point, because I do think this game is fun in spurts. So yeah, just try to limit your time on the game if you're not having a lot of fun right now. And again, I'm cautiously, very, very cautiously optimistic that we are going to get to a point once again where my team is going to be fun to play on a day-to-day basis, and it's going to make all of us who are maybe limiting our time on the game want to boot up the game every single day and have, a smile on our face while doing so. Love you all. Once again, have a great rest of your weekend. Once again, this was the BrothSyndi My Team show. I'm your host, Jan Moses, and I'll talk to you later.